I hope everyone out there made it through their holiday week unscathed. We have reached Friday, 25 November 2022. It is currently 14:14 hours. That is, of course, 2:14 p.m. in the afternoon for those of you in the civilian world. It is currently 81 degrees here on the northeast coast of Florida. We had a high of 81.5, and it looks like we're going to have a low of 67.1. Barometer is currently falling at 29.98 inches of mercury. Would, of course, always like to be diligent and say thank you to everyone who continues to join us over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where it's only $1 per month. That's right. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. As always, we can partner with Vimeo, take the gloves off, and talk about things in a real manner like we used to be able to do many years ago. There used to be a big value in this country for freedom of speech and telling it like it is, even if it might ruffle some feathers. That was the American way. Well, no more. That is no more, of course. We would love to have you over there. It's no risk. Fully refundable first 90 days. You can DM me, direct message me over there, and say, Florida Maquis, it's just too racy for me. Sometimes you show images that, well, they're just bothersome, and I don't think you're a really good Christian for showing those images, and we're going to talk about that today, by the way, here at this video. I want my $3 back, no problem. Absolutely not a problem whatsoever, but real quick update, Patriot Nurse has her own Patreon account, by the way, and earlier today, she put up a very detailed explanation of what she's going through. Now, I'm not going to reveal that for you here, because that would be damaging to her, of course. I would encourage everyone to go to her Patreon channel and sign up. She's got multiple levels, I think 1 and 5 and some other higher ones. But she has an explanation, and I think it would probably discourage folks a little bit from leaning too heavily on distilled silvermectin enhanced colloidal essence of sun-dried butterfly fart extract, now with 20% more mogonoids as your sole source of health in the world. Truly. I mean, even if you take the recommended amount of, 4 heaping third tablespoons every quarter fortnight, something like that. So if you want the details, though, Patriot Nurse, Patreon, I'll give you the link, easy to find. But the big news, we have another sighting, I guess would be the best term to use, of Vox Populi, Vox Dei. The voice of the people is the voice of God now, according to Elon Musk. He has done another poll. And it's an interesting thing to see. Let's see if I can pull up the screenshot here. 23 November. Should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspended accounts provided they have not A, broken the law, or B, engaged in egregious spam? Now, full disclosure, that's 99.995% of the suspended accounts, including mine. By the way, my Twitter account is suspended. I can go there, and having a suspended account means you can go to Twitter and log in, and you can watch what's going on. You just can't engage. You can't make a comment. You can't retweet. You can't like. You can't really share. I think you actually might be able to share. You can't share to Twitter, but you can share from Twitter. So it's an interesting thing to see coming from a guy like Elon Musk. He, of course, had this giant company full of thousands and thousands and thousands of liberals, hyper leftist liberals, and he got rid of a huge chunk of them, thousands. So when he reinstates all of these accounts, they have alleged now that it's going to be this huge influx of, the term they use is super spreaders of hate. But I have to imagine in my mind's eye this conversation between him and this large, huge posse of hyper-liberals, and him calling them hypocrites. How would they be hypocritical? Well, on one hand, they talk about voting as if it is this sacred thing that everybody should participate in. On the left, they've even alleged that people as young as 14, 15, 16 should be able to vote, that it shouldn't matter whether you're in prison. It really shouldn't matter. Any human being, citizen or not, with an interest, should be able to participate in U.S. elections. And of course, on the right is the exact opposite. So if they want to have that belief system, that's fine when it comes to voting. But when it comes to their platform and their work, a place like Twitter, he would look at them and say, but yet you want to restrict the participation and the speech of all of these accounts that you call super spreaders of hate or those you disagree with. Don't you want all of their voices as well to be able to participate here? Because here's the big question. What if somebody is voting based on hate? You never know. You never know why anybody votes for anybody. It's really not important why somebody votes for whoever, whether it's George Bush or whether it's Barack Obama or whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's Joe Biden. The reasoning behind somebody voting is irrelevant, is it not? Now, I have made allegation, and it really isn't coming from me, it's coming from them, that the liberals are, modern incarnation of liberals, are motivated by Star Trek. And they have actually bragged about this online. It's not just some make-believe thing I thought up in my head. You can go find this. Google Star Trek liberals and go look at images and look at all the memes. They have not shied away from saying, yes, this is the future we want. But they had their god, the person that they would see as, the person to be emulated, this character Jean-Luc Picard, played by, I forget the actor's name. Anyway, Jean-Luc Picard is the captain's name. The economics of the future, this is a quote that he had in one of the movies. The economics of the future is somewhat different. You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century. The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity. You see, they don't even catch themselves there, realizing what they're saying. They live in such a bubble that they don't even realize the word better is subjective, not objective, in a series based on allegedly science, where everything is either A or B. What is better? It's a matter of perspective, is it not? What is better for you might not be better for me. There is no standard definition of better when it comes to humanity. And when they say that they're working to better humanity, that means they're working to force, and they even admit it here, force their view of what better is on everyone else. They even admit this. Now, this second incarnation of Star Trek, not the old Captain Kirk from the 60s Star Trek, the new incarnation that started in the late 80s, that had the spin-offs with Voyager and DS9 and Enterprise and all those, all had a liberal tinge to them, except for maybe DS9. We're going to cover that here in a minute. And I put this together just to show you can find this. They say that the future under capitalism will be Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. The future under socialism will be everybody walking around in pajamas of different colors, defining what they do in the world. And of course, the joke, Dad, why are there no Republicans in Star Trek? Because it's the future, son. Of course, republicanism is this archaic way of the dinosaur type of belief system. Now, here's the thought process on better. Many people would look at this image, I've used it before, when it comes to physical health, for example, and say, of course, this guy made himself better. Same guy on the left, guy on the right. The guy on the left, he's overweight, he's out of shape, I'm sure heart disease, all sorts of other physical maladies, changes his life, and becomes the guy on the right. Now, that's a pretty easy thing to look at and say, yeah, he's better. But I guess it might depend, though, on what your perspective of better is. Ladies, how many of you have known that guy, had that guy in your group? He was, kind of the big, round guy that was always friendly and nice and easy to be around. He was never a, quote-unquote threat, so to speak, romantically. And you just loved to be around the guy because he was just always big smiles and there and, and other guys like to hang around him, of course, because a guy like that would make them look, by comparison, always better. And you have the third and fourth course of chicken wings and always drinking the beer. And, but then a guy like that gets tired of being treated that way. And is tired of being taken advantage of. And all of a sudden, he gets in the gym and he starts losing weight. He's not at the bar. He's not at the restaurant very much anymore. He's not there to listen to all your problems anymore. And he starts valuing himself in a different way and separating himself from abusive people that use him and that would keep him looking like Santa Claus, so to speak. You see, from all the perspective of all those people, he's worse. Oh, he always used to be there to talk to me and listen to my problems, and now he just doesn't have time for it anymore. He's not the nice guy he used to be. He's aloof, and sometimes he's a little bit moody and angry, which is what you would be if you were depriving yourself of food and you were in pain a lot from working out. You see how bettering yourself from the perspective of others can make you worse. So is it worse or is it better? From his perspective, that he'll live a longer life. He'll have a lot more respect from the people around him. He'll probably not have near as many friends, though. And you see, that's the key with liberals. They're defined by how many friends they have. They're defined by how many people will glad hand them. And, be happy to see them coming. You see, conservatism doesn't state that. In fact, it states the opposite. Another quote, inside you is the potential to make yourself better, and that is what it is to be human, to make yourself more than you are. Well, you can never be more than what you are. You might be, from some perspective, better than in your own mind than what you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But that's nobody else's business, is it? And that's the real key. If you ever want to identify a liberal, ask them if it's their job to fix either society or others around them. This is, of course, a line from the Coldplay song, Fix You. You see, they will, being the compassionate ones, of course, in the argument, always want to bring you into the light of what goodness and righteousness from their perspective is. And if you don't follow the way they want you to follow, no matter how harmful it is to you, you will always be seen as the wrong one. You see, that's the idea of what's happening with Elon Musk. You see, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to go on Twitter that are going to bother people. And it's no longer going to be a safe space. If he follows through on what he says he's going to do here, and he pulls all of the suspensions, other than the ones who have committed a crime or engaged in egregious spam, if he does that, yeah, Twitter will no longer be a safe space. There will be multiple definitions of what good and bad are, of what right and wrong are, just based on perspective. Now, you want to see something really funny? There was one version of Star Trek that almost tried to call out their hypocrisy. It was a spin-off called Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and if it were to be tried to be made today, they wouldn't allow it. It would have to have a TVMA label on it. Because when you look back and you watch some of these old seasons and what they had going on and the attitudes, you would have wondered, how could the liberals in charge of Star Trek have allowed this? Mid-90s liberals were very different. You see, mid-90s liberals thought that the girl dressed here on the left, as scantily clad as the Dabo girl, would have been more offensive to the Republicans, the Christian right with the Republicans. So they were doing this as a form of feminism. These girls that were taking advantage of all these stupid guys coming into the casino, and they were taking all their money because they were just a bunch of dumb, conservative, drunk guys. These were prostitutes. And in season 1, they make no bones about it. These girls aren't there just as eye candy. These girls are there as prostitutes. In fact, they have this thing called a holosuite. It's basically a big room you walk into, and because they have all these this hologram technology, you can create whatever environment you want to. Hint, hint. So they don't say it explicitly, just like back with Gunsmoke and Miss Kitty, who was a prostitute. They basically have a whole bunch of girls running around, and they, of course, make the owner of the bar as ugly as they can. This Ferengi with the big ears. But up here at the top in the show, top center, what's going on here is that this particular species, the Ferengi, the ears on the Ferengi are akin to their sex organs, basically. They're akin to the breasts of a woman. And so he's sitting here having a financial negotiation with the woman who's rubbing his ears. And she's making her end of the negotiation better by offering this ear rub. Given the state of things today, this would have never flown. And in the upper right, it gets even worse. There's a character, I don't remember the actor's name, but he played a 16-year-old boy, Jake Sisko, son of the commander of the station, Benjamin Sisko. He's 16. He's in high school, and he's dating one of these prostitutes. He's dating one of these Dabo girls who's much, much older. And I even brought this in here, and I'll share this link to you. There's a board that's available somewhere. I don't know if it's Reddit or whatever. And the guy captioned this: I'm currently rewatching DS9, and the whole Jake Marda thing is just really terrible. I don't understand how the show writers ever thought that making a 16-year-old underage child date a 20-year-old, basically a prostitute adult, in a family show was a good idea. And this was a family show. This wasn't even rated R. This was rated PG. This shows you how ridiculous the liberals are, because they are and have been in charge of Star Trek for a long, long time. I mean, with what we've seen in the last couple of years, I don't know how many of you watched the football game last night. I'm trying to remember which one it was. The Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys and the Vikings game. I believe it was Bebe Rexha was the halftime show. And they digitally altered the torsos of all of her backup dancers to give them six-packs or make them look like they were more shapely if the backup dancer was a girl. They enhanced the upper chestal regions, I guess, for lack of a better term, and made them curvier using digital green. They were wearing these green outfits underneath the jacket that they were wearing in the dance outfit, and they were using digital images to make all of the guy dancers look like they had six-packs like this, and all of the women to look like they were, super curvy. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I have a 55-inch big screen OLED, and I had to get up real close. I'm like, they are digitally altering these people's bodies. It is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable what they're doing. So, anyway, I just wanted to cover this issue with Musk and Twitter and bringing everybody back, because he wants, I guess, everybody involved in the conversation. I really think it's about money. He needs more eyeballs in front of ads. It's just that simple. He needs to bring back people and bring back the money. And now that he's slashed, I think, 4,000 jobs? 4,000 liberals have been cut from the staff. And I think at one time they had 7,500 employees. Now they're down to 3,000 some. And most of the big cuts have come at the very highest level. The ones that were pulling the strings, so to speak. So I will leave it there. But once again, patreon.com/The Patriot Nurse. Patreon.com/The Patriot Nurse. Just like it sounds. She has a long, kind of drawn-out explanation. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a longer explanation than what she's given in the past of what's been going on with her in the last, I guess, few months now. So anyway, keep her in your prayers. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.